Welcome to the Sat-Coord SNS database browsing tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll explain what SNS databases are, how you can set up your SNS databases in Sat-Coord, and show you the kind of information you can retrieve from this database. The Space Network Systems, or SNS for short, data format defines how data is stored in the SOS, IFIC, SPS, and Appendix 30B ITU databases. These databases contain the Appendix 4 information on space services under Articles 9 and 11 and Appendices 30, 30A and 30B of the Radio Regulations. These databases can be found on the International Frequency Information Circular for Space Services, which is published every 2 weeks. You can find out more information on the SNS or the IFIC by visiting the relevant ITU website. Links are provided in the description below this video. Before browsing to an SNS database in Sat-Coord, we should set up the options associated with these databases. To do this, click on the Tools menu item and then select Options from the drop-down menu. From the Options tab, choose the Browse Database options. Here you can specify the location of your SOS, IFIC, SPS and Appendix 30B database files. We recommend that you create 4 directories on your local machine, one for each of the SOS, IFIC, SPS and Appendix 30B database types, and when you receive your new IFIC every 2 weeks, you copy each of the new databases into its relevant directory. Due to the size of the SOS database, you may wish to only keep the most recent version of this database. Once you have told Sat-Coord where to look for your SNS database files, we can go to the Browse menu item, and then you can see there are separate sections in the menu for each of the SOS, IFIC, SPS and Appendix 30B database types, and Sat-Coord will automatically populate each menu with the most recent 10 database files in each of the directories. Here you can see that I can easily access the IFIC files from IFIC 2771 to the most recent IFIC I have on my machine, IFIC 2780. If you wish to open an older IFIC, you can click on the Browse Folder menu item to browse to the folder you specified in your options to easily select another database in that directory. If you wish to open an SNS database which is located somewhere else on your machine, you can select the Other Database option and then the Browse menu item and then select the database this way. For this tutorial I'm going to open the most recent SOS file I have, which is SOS 2780. This opens a new SNS database browsing tab. On the left-hand side of the screen is a pane which contains our database file, as well as any output we generate from that database. Since this is a new tab, there is currently no output generated. On the right-hand side of the screen is a pane which contains all of our available searches which we can use to retrieve information from the SNS database we have opened. Please note that Sat-Coord maintains a separate search list for each SNS database type. When you open an SNS database, Sat-Coord automatically retrieves the SNS version of the database which is displayed in the icon associated with the database. Here we have opened an SNS version 7 database. There are over 500 available searches that are organized into folders, and the most commonly used searches are given a favorite tag, making the search list more manageable. You can select whether only favorite searches or whether all searches are shown by toggling the Favorites Only button. Sat-Coord also has search functionality to more easily find a search that interests you if you are struggling to locate it. As you start to type in the search box, the tree automatically repopulates to only show searches that match the text that you have entered. For example, if we wish to find the polarization data associated with the filing, we should first turn off Favorites Only to make sure we are searching the full search tree, and then begin typing a word which we expect to be included in the search. So for this case, if we start to type polarization, we can see that the search tree very quickly becomes filtered to just 2 searches, the group polarization angle and the group polarization type, which are the available polarization fields. If you are likely to use this field frequently, you can set it to be a favorite search by selecting the search and then pressing the favorite toggle in the toolbar. The search will then appear in the list when we toggle to display only the favorite searches. You can retrieve information on a particular search by selecting it and then pressing the F1 key. For example, here we can see the help associated with the group polarization type search. You can see its default name, its default location in the search tree, the table and field name of the search in the SNS database, the SNS database versions that contain this search, the output format, and a description of the field. Lastly, for some fields you can also see the potential values. If we click here, we can see the potential values of the search, which shows us each of the available polarization types. If you wish to remove the search filter on the tree, we can simply remove the text in the search box, which will repopulate the entire tree, showing in this case all of the favorite searches. For this tutorial, the first search I'm going to perform is a notice admin search on the database, and this will show me all of the administrations which currently have information in the SOS database. Especially when searching the SOS database, it is a good idea to start searching using a field which doesn't have too many results due to the size of the SOS database. Some fields have many thousands of values in the SOS, so it is a good idea to filter the data before using those searches. The administration search is a good search to start from, as you generally know the administration associated with the data you wish to find. Next, I'm going to select the UK administration, which has an administration code of G in our output. Now when we perform a new search, it will only search for data associated with the UK administration. Next, I'm going to perform a notice type search, which shows us all of the different notice types filed in the SOS under the UK administration. So we can see that there are geostationary, non-geostationary, radio astronomy station, and specific Earth station notices filed under the UK. If you are unsure of the definitions associated with these codes, you can select the search field and press F1 to view the help associated with the search. We're going to next select the geostationary notice type, and then perform the notice satellite name search. This shows us all of the geostationary satellite names filed under the UK administration. There are quite a number of these, over 200. I'm going to pick one of them and then perform the notice notification reason search. This shows us that there are advanced publication information, coordination request, notification, and due diligence information associated with this satellite name. Once again, if you are unsure of the definitions associated with these codes, you can select the search field and press F1 to view the help associated with the search. We are going to pick the coordination request and perform a group regulatory priority date search. This shows us the date from which a list of assignments is taken into account according to the provisions of the RR as appropriate. For a coordination request filing, this is the date of receipt of the filing. There are 3 dates shown, a date of none, a date in 1996, and a date in 1997. A group regulatory priority date of none generally means that this portion of data received an unfavourable finding. We can check this in Sat-Coord. If we search for finding in the search tree, ensuring that we have favourites only toggled off, and then run the group findings conformity with the RR search, we can see that the code returned is N, which indicates an unfavourable finding. If we run this search on the other dates, it returns a code of A indicating a favourable finding. Let me remove the search filter and favourites only toggle to return the search tree to its previous state. Next, I want to retrieve the frequency information on one of these dates. There are 3 main frequency searches available which can be found in the frequency information folder in the search tree. Frequency band shows us the frequencies associated with this data put into predefined frequency band categories. If you click on the Tools menu item and then select Options from the drop-down menu, from the Options tab choose the frequency data. Here we can see the definitions of each of the frequency bands. For example, the KU band is defined as being from 10,000 MHz to 16,000 MHz. Let me now close this Options tab and go back to our SNS database browsing tab. So if I perform the frequency band search on the date in 1996, firstly, if you notice, I performed a search on an output which already had other output generated. This will simply replace the previous output with your new search, so in this case the group findings are replaced with the output from the frequency band search. We can see that the KU band is shown, so only frequency ranges in the KU band were filed in this data. Next, if I perform the frequency range merged search, we can see the precise frequency ranges filed in this data. Lastly, if I perform the frequency range search, you can see the complete list of all frequency ranges filed in this data, and it is quite a long list. If we wish, we can now find more information associated with these frequency ranges by performing further searches. We could find out information on the associated Earth stations, the emissions, or any other data included in the SNS database. Sat-Coord allows you to filter the data included in an SNS database over and over again until you achieve just the piece of information you need. You can also define your own searches with multiple output fields or complex criteria, but that is beyond the scope of this tutorial. You can find out more information on this in the help file. Thank you for watching. This ends the SNS database browsing tutorial. If you have any questions, please contact us using the information in the description below.